Hello, and thank you for listening. My name is Luke Mardigan, the owner of the Mardigan Agency, and you are listening to Be Insured, where we talk about business, leadership, and insurance. That way, on your worst day, when you need it the most, you will be insured. This pandemic has hit our small business community hard, especially restaurants. In part one of this conversation last week, you heard Carlos Vera and Dave Hunt, two local restaurant owners who shared how COVID and the government shutdowns have affected their businesses and the people who work in them, and the unique challenges that they've faced trying to keep their companies afloat during such a chaotic and hard time. In part two of this discussion today, we'll focus on the next key question, which is where do we go from here? Carlos and Dave, thanks so much for being on and taking the time to chat with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
And of course, I'm excited to be joined by my awesome co-host who has a mic now.
Eric, yeah.
Nope, he doesn't have a mic. Eric Gestring. So as of today, restaurants are slated to reopen February 1st, which is, let's see, a little less than a week away.
1 week from today.
1 week from today. This is a very recent announcement, and I think everyone in Michigan agrees that it's felt overdue. And how did you both feel receiving this news?
It was about damn time. That's what I got to say.
Yeah, amen.
It's about damn time. You're right. Long overdue for sure. We disappointed it's 25%, but we're happy to at least have some guests in the seats again.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective, I'm not a political commentator, but it doesn't. I don't know what changed from 2 weeks ago to today, and I'm not sure what the difference between 25 and 50% is. I don't have any data that says one way or the other. I do have data that says that shutdowns don't help.
You do?
I do, right here. Recent study just published last week, actually December of 2020, so 3 weeks ago, ranking the effectiveness of worldwide COVID-19 government interventions. This is a hefty 18-page report. If you're watching the video, you can see it's really, really tiny 8 font, and it's 18 pages of that with some charts. Well, one of the charts here lists, so there's a number of things, and they score them based on their effectiveness. The most effective is social distancing at small gatherings, and just canceling small gatherings, canceling closure of schools, works, border restrictions, mass gathering restrictions, such as protests would be a good example of that, and increased availability of PPE. All these things are over 50% effective. However, at the bottom of the list is social distancing, special measures for certain establishments. I think restaurants would fall under that, and it shows an effectiveness of just over 15%, 16% effective. So we are decimating an entire industry for something that is 16% effective. And it's only one industry.
It's mind-blowing.
So that being said, you guys have been through some difficult times. There's no data that says 25% makes sense. However, we just have to work with the cards that we've been dealt with, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So how are you going to play the cards that you've been dealt, Dave? What's next?
Well, as I've done all along, we followed all the protocols, and I'll certainly do the same thing. I'm not one of those rebels out there that wanted to keep the doors open and defy the governor's orders. So, I think the community and my guests have come into my restaurant because they know that we're doing everything right.
Yep. And
we are the safe place to eat. It's a heck of a lot safer than coming to my restaurant than it is going out to some of the supermarkets and so on. So we will continue to follow all the protocols and everything that we're supposed to do. And my staff and I take it very, very seriously. We're there to protect our guests and our business.
And so your plan is just to trudge forward, continue being safe, keeping people safe. That's what, the goal of the show, I disclaimer, is not to discredit COVID. It's real, it's out there, and people are dying from it. There's just no question about it. What we're questioning or talking about is what are we going to do when an entire industry is shut down, restaurants, and how are we going to deal with that in an effective way, and how can you, the listeners, be a part of that? So, Dave, you're going to push forward, keep things safe so that people want to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Carlos, what's Acapulco Mexican Grill's plan?
I mean, absolutely. We're not asking to be open at 100% capacity and being just reckless. We want to do things.
Could you do it safely? Could you open at 100% safely? I mean, particularly your Lansing restaurant is large. You have 10,000
absolutely.
Square foot?
We have a large. We have about 6,000 square foot of dining. But If you're telling me that 6 feet apart is a safe distance, we can make that work. We can set up the restaurant to where every table is 6 feet apart and everybody can, enjoy going out to dinner with their families.
And you'd be pretty close to 100% capacity.
Absolutely.
Same with you, David, because Big Boy's known for the booth setup. I mean, you could just go every other booth theoretically and that's 6 foot.
We have taken a tape measure and we've measured the booths every which way, and we are 6 feet apart. As a matter of fact, more than 6 feet apart in most cases. And we do have some some seating, some tables and chairs that we're able to do the same as well. So absolutely.
Yeah. So nothing stopping you from opening up 100% logistically.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
We're ready.
All right. And so now the challenge is we know we're at 25%. We have no idea what the next step is, and we have no idea if there's another shutdown. So how can our listeners support Big Boy of St. John's, Big Boy of Mason, and Acapulco of Lansing, Acapulco of Charlotte? How can our listeners support you in a way that actually is meaningful? Like I said off air, if I order a stack of pancakes from you, it's my favorite food is pancakes, which I love Big Boy's pancakes. That's not going to move the needle a whole lot. So what can people actually do? What could businesses do to partner with the local restaurants and actually keep you afloat while we're at 25%?
Well, the pancakes is going to help, Luke, so I appreciate every dollar we can get. So keep ordering those.
Okay.
But certainly the gift card sales, we sold a lot of gift cards. Back in December, and those are coming up, obviously, to be redeemed starting next week. We're excited about that. And, continuing the gift card sales, the gift card purchases to give as incentives to employees for different things and contests and so on. We have an app, Easy Cater, that we're now instituting for Big Boys so that businesses, offices, hospitals, and so on can order food for their offices and for larger groups. We're excited about that, as well as obviously takeout, curbside pickup, and free local delivery.
I love it. So there is nothing stopping our local populace from supporting your business. And what's frustrating to me and why this is occurring, and I hope that if you're listening, you share this everywhere you can, is that nobody's telling that story. We know that we can go Grubhub or Uber Eats, and my family's done that where it's available. We've done it with Acapulco. Sarah loves to Uber Eat Acapulco. It's not the same.
Yeah, no, it's it's not the same. The food quality is definitely not where that's something that we take pride on, and it's kind of unfortunate that we can't provide that great dining experience with fresh food.
How are you going to keep tortilla chips?
Yeah.
And nachos.
How am I going to keep a taco
crispy,
not getting soggy after, being in a tortilla for 15 minutes and then drive home?
Yeah, that's just not. If it's 15 minutes.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. We certainly strive to provide the highest quality food that we can for takeout as well. But French fries in a takeout box are just not the same a half hour later, and they are served fresh and hot on a plate in the dining room.
Yeah, with the big smile behind it.
Absolutely.
It's just not the same, right?
The experience means a lot.
But in the meantime, we only have so many things we can do for local restaurants. And so if you're out there, buy gift cards for your employees as incentives. Buy them as gifts for your friends and family. That'll get them out buying food. Order takeout. And for the catering, Dave, for Big Boy, is that so? How can people get access to that?
Online, www.bigboy.com.
All right. So they go to bigboy.com, they pick your location, and it's awesome.
Exactly.
St. John's and Mason, if you're here in Lansing locally. And then for Acapulco, you have Grubhub, Uber Eats.
We have Grubhub, Uber Eats. We have obviously takeout. And I would just encourage anyone out there, if you have a, birthday party for your daughter, your son coming up or anything like that, go and support a local business if you can. They will appreciate it more than you think. Yeah. And also, it's something as simple as, you get takeout and you share it on social media, give a shout out and all that stuff. That means a lot. It takes you 30 seconds and, it might help them in the long run big time.
Yeah, and you know what? With all the craziness going on and homeschooling our kids virtually and being stuck inside our houses, not being able to go to an office, not having our social events. Today's my birthday. There is no birthday party. This is it in the radio studio here. And with all that stuff being missing, you can still do something so special just by ordering some takeout for your family and eating it around the table, old school style. You don't have to stay in front of the TV all day. All right. So that's how our listeners can help. What's the plan moving forward? Because, we're at 25% now with the way that things have been going in the state of Michigan. It seems like our governor's office, just kind of depending on how the wind blows, decides to shut down restaurants. So if she shuts it down again in a month, what are you going to do as business owners? Will you be in business?
Well, we are a resilient bunch, that's for sure.
You sure are.
I found that out. So I certainly intend to survive. We'll do what we have to do. We'll innovate more if we have to innovate more. We're going to do what we do best, and that's taking great care of our customers and doing what's right to keep them safe.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one thing. We've been doing, like I said, following all the protocols and doing what we can to go from here. But it's crazy to me that, you know, my wife recently went to Arizona, and she said she was in a plane full of people, and everybody could take their mask and eat in the airplane. Everybody could comfortably take their mask off, people next to her eat and put it back on. So, like, I don't understand how that justifies eating in a plane versus eating in a restaurant, you know. So I think it's very unfortunate that we are not able to do what we do, and you know it's hurting and crippling the industry.
That's what is so aggravating, I think, for us restaurant operators and employees. You know, there's just no rhyme or reason to so much of it. I know I went to a mall during the Christmas season with my family, and although the food court was closed, they were serving food, and there were tables and chairs all over the mall where folks could sit down and eat.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense. I just shook my head like, why are we being targeted like this in our restaurants?
Well, my wife and I just went to Costco a month ago, and I mean, it feels like thousands of people in there. You know, it's, you know, sure you can socially distance, but I mean, there's only so many bananas for you to grab, you know, so you kind of got to lean in every once in a while and grab the bananas and grab some apples, and, you know, the meat section's only so big, you're going to be next to other people. And then, you know, we left and said, gosh, that's just so frustrating. It'd be so nice to leave, because we love to go. We'll make a date of it. Usually, you know, we drop the baby off at my mother-in-law's. We go grab dinner, and then we'll go to Costco and do our ordering. And so it's so frustrating for us not to be able to go out for a date, you know, and eat food and then go to Costco and see all these people closer than we would have been in the restaurant.
Yep.
So, you know, what's sad is that all of us, I think, feel that way, but nobody's able to do anything. We're all pretty powerless. We're kind of at the whims of whatever the state of Michigan decides.
Yeah, and our customers feel the same way. You know, we hear that all the time from our customers.
And that's saying a lot, Dave, because I mean, your customer base is the more at risk,
right?
Older clientele.
I do have an elderly clientele for sure.
Well, I mean, that's what my wife's
in the morning, especially.
Right? Yeah, for breakfast. My wife's grandfather is 89. He doesn't want to cook himself breakfast. So he lives in Dansville, and he drives into Mason and goes to Big Boy or grabs a bagel at Big B, or, you know, he goes to local or other depot, you know, when it was open.
He's 80, still driving.
Yeah, and he's doing great. Well, you know, part of it, independence, though, is him going out to eat. Yeah.
Right.
And he wants to go out to eat. He's been going out to eat this whole time. He's been looking for places that'll serve him. So, you're a resilient bunch. I love your response, Dave. The restaurant industry is gonna make it through. What about employees? Do we feel like, you know, we talked a little bit on last episode. For those who weren't listening or couldn't catch that, you know, what are employees doing right now, and how are they planning for the future? Are they planning on coming back? Are they going to stick through another shutdown? What's going on with employees?
I have been able to reach out to, you know, probably 90% of my staff, and they all indicate they're anxious to return. You know, again, my staff, and I'm sure like Carlos, I mean, they're family. You know, they're not just employees; they're family, and we've treated them well, and we've had a great rapport and respect with them over all of these years. And you know, they're to support us just as if they were supporting their own families. So I'm pretty confident that the majority of our staff will be coming back. We support each other. Yeah. One hurts, we all hurt, and that's the way it is. So I believe that most of my staff will be coming back.
That's great to hear. And Carlos, you guys your organization has fought hard to keep your employees.
Absolutely.
Local.
You know, we've been doing whatever we can to make sure they're taken care of, and you know that they're not going anywhere, because you know, honestly, without them, we are not who we are. Yep. You know what I mean? It's not easy finding someone that can cook delicious food. You know what I mean? That's for a reason they do it, and I don't.
Yes, right. And that's a reason why, much like yourself, most of your cook staff was born in Mexico.
Absolutely.
They grew up cooking authentic dishes, and now they're making them in your restaurant. And that's
Absolutely.
Something you can't replicate. That's something that you know, the competition down the road can't just hire somebody and teach them how to cook that way. And your restaurants certainly have a special flavor. So that's wonderful to hear. Anything that you'd like to add moving forward with restaurants? Any capstones that you'd like to add before we end the episode today here, Dave?
Well, I just want to say that it's hospitality is a great industry, and certainly I think it's in the community. You know, you mentioned it earlier. We are the place for folks to come and have that experience of dining in and getting to know each other and talking to each other. And we're just so looking forward to getting back to business 100% and making good things happen in the community.
I love it. So go visit Big Boy in St. John's and Mason here in the Lansing area. Dave Hunt will take great care of you, and go visit Acapulco Mexican Grill. And the Cancun Mexican Grill is also in the Lansing, which are a family of Carlos. Dave and Carlos, thank you so much for being on the episode today. Listeners, it's time to take action. Go buy those gift cards, order takeout, stop in at these restaurants with 25% capacity here on February 1st, which is about when this episode is going to air, and do what you can to keep these restaurants alive. We need them as part of our culture. It's part of what we do as Americans and Michiganders. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Be Insured.